Stand up for the champions. 90 days of all-star horse racing. Champion season tests the mettle of the country's top 3-year-old talent over Gravel's illustrious 2,000 metres. Heads up for these two Grade 1 level weight contests. The R2 million Daily News 2000 and the R1 million Willavington 2000 for fillies. Champions against champions. All-star horse racing brought to you by Gold Circle. Bet Tab Gold, the intelligent bet. Also at Gravel on Daily News 2000 Day. Enjoy the galloping.
Welcome to the Playground of Champions, Gravel Racecourse. We're in the midst of Champions season for one of the most anticipated race meetings of the South African racing calendar. A very warm welcome to the panel discussion. What a panel that we have for you to chat about the 10 races carded at Gravel Racecourse right here on Saturday afternoon. You're going to welcome them from the far side and then work our way towards me. And going to start off with presenter, with tipster, with an all-round legend, Dees Diamond.
Thanks, Alistair. Pleasure being on the show and just being alongside Jeff Woodruff and Gard Puller. It's an absolute privilege, and I'm looking forward to discussing a fantastic race meeting with the panel this evening.
Now, everything this man touches turns to gold at the moment. He walked away with plenty silverware at the RA Halfveld Awards last night. Jeff Woodruff's here. Busy man, but obviously in Durban to do business.
We are, Alistair, and I must say this is perhaps more scary than lining up in a Grade 1 race, sitting next to Dees and speaking to you, but nice to be here.
Always great to have legends in our midst, and another one of the best that South Africa ever saw in the saddle, and top-class trainer in his own right, Garth Puller. Garth, thanks very much for coming.
Yeah, it's nice being here. I hope we can find a winner too for the public out there.
Now, it's a big weekend in terms of Pick 6 carryovers. It's all happening from Friday through to Monday. The Toto offering Pick 6 carryovers galore. And on this particular meeting, an estimated pool of R4 million is expected. But we'll get into the exotics in just a moment. But first, we are going to start off with race number 1. This is the Football Maiden Juvenile Plate for fillies. We'll have a look at the field. And we start off with number 1 on the card, Aquila Jet. And that's currently 28 to 10. Of course, these prices supplied by Betting World. We'll go through the horses that are perhaps shorter prices. 5 Hello Lily open to improve, 5 to 1, and then 7 Lily Grey and 9 Off Ramp are both 7 to 1 shots. The favourite is number 10 Princess Chloe. But before we chat to Garth and to Jeff, I've been told Dees Diamond will get punters off to a winning start in race number 1. He's got all the information that you need. Dees, how do we make money for the exotics?
Yeah, I like the look of number 1, Aquila Jet for Neil Bruss, Alistair. A lot of respect for Justin Snate's runner, Princess Chloe. I think you'll have to give respect to number 5, Hello Lily, who made a good debut and unfancied. But everything points to one filly for me, and that's Aquila Jet. You just have a look at the form line. She was 6 lengths behind Alboran C, who came out to win the Alan Robertson. Second in that race was a horse called Tap Away, trained by Robbie Hill, and she was finished second next time out behind Vol Marcel's Colt. And 007 was, strangely enough, trained by Garth, is on the panel today, came out to win. Modern Muse, who was beaten 5 3/4 lengths that day, also came out to win, beating the current favourite, who's priced up at around 9 to 10, Princess Chloe. For my money, nicely drawn at 4. She's a half-sister to horses like Leora Pax, who stayed 2,000 metres. Atia was a decent stay. I think she's going to release this 1,400-metre trip. I like her a lot in race number 1. There was some 4 to 1 available.
Did you claim it?
That was snapped up early, 28 to 10. And I've got a little wager with V. He thinks she'll start around 15 to 10. I think she may even start shorter. I like her a lot. And just for punters out there, Ali, if you're looking for some security on the day, you didn't have a good day in the exotics, maybe take a double with a horse in the last race, in the 10th race called Wild Lord. So maybe take the double, race 1, race 2. If you do your money in the rest of the races, you got that ticket in your back pocket.
That's obviously strong talk, Garth. You'll have a good line with 007. And, 007's come out and won. So is Dees on the right track here with Aquila Jet?
Yeah, I think the form line's very strong. I mean, that whole field have come out and done well. But I would respect Justin's filly. She has raced there, and nothing beats experience. And then a slight outside, I like a little bit of Dennis Bosch's filly, Lily Grey. I think that could finish in the first 4.
So don't be leaving that out. Jeff, just quickly from a trainer's point of view, how important is one run under the belt?
Alistair, I think it's very important. I've always felt that these races, these juvenile races, the experienced ones are the ones to beat. And I would say Justin's filly looks terribly hard to beat.
So that's our the Panel C race number 1 on the card. Now we're going to get into the exotics. The first leg of the Biopot, the popular Biopot, new bet on the block. Race number 2 is the Workplace Maiden Juvenile Plate. We'll have a look at the field, and there will be 11 runners to face the starter. Number 1, Africa Burn. Another first-timer from the Dean Kannemeyer stable. We'll get to Garth in just a moment with first-timers from the Western Cape from big yards. We know that this is normally where they're first seen and where their careers begin. Then we have number 3, Captain Broadhurst, on offer at 7-2. Number 8 is Kalang River. Kalang River shows 8-1 from the Vaughan Marshall stable. 7 Major Vaughan all the way from Cape Town. Brett Crawford trains 9-2. 8 is Melson at 8-1. 9 Olympic Bolt 7-2. And 10 Pioneer Spirit is on offer at 4-1. Garth, you've been coming to Durban for many years. I mean, obviously you're now here, but when you see the name Kannemeyer, when you see the name Snaith, and you see those other big Cape Town trainers bring these first-timers to Durban, sons on their back, you know that they could be something to watch out for.
Yeah, one must always remember they've probably got a choice of 40 juveniles, and they bring their best 5 or 6 or 10. So these are the top ones. They're not here on holiday. They're probably to get away from the winter and obviously to mature. So you've got to respect them. I think I don't know from the track, Dean's horse, but it's nicely bred, expensive colt. And I think just looking, Mike de Kock's got a nice horse in the race. So I mean, this is a strong field, a competitive field.
Jeff, I mean, now we've just spoken about experience and how vital it can be. How do you see race number 2 panning out in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm of a similar view to Garth. Dean would bring his better babies. He's not going to bring horses just for a holiday. So he will be expecting something, I think, of this 2-year-old. But always, I think you've got to respect Charlie and Anton. Also, it looks like a well-bred Rock of Gibraltar by Captain L. Surely that's a runner. So I think you've got to watch the betting and maybe look at the horses in the ring if you're there. But I wouldn't know. I mean, only really the trainers or the connections could know this.
Dees, I mean, there are certain trainers that have a reputation of getting their horses ready first time out. I mean, Charles Laird is one. Vaughan Marshall, we know, can produce 2-year-olds. And the Mark de Kock machine, I mean, this is when it starts to go full tilt as well.
Yeah, we obviously in a bit of dark here. We haven't heard anything about these first-timers. And for me, everything does point to number 10, Pioneer Spirit from the Gavin van Zyl stable for the Bipot. Looks like an obvious inclusion, was quietly fancied. He was beaten by a real roughie on the day. Ivan Moore trains the real hero. And this horse was very green. I remember watching the race, nothing went for him, and he stayed on best of the rest. He looks like the obvious choice for the Bipot, but I'll keep a close eye on this horse called Africa Burn. We'll see his full brother come up later on called Glasswing, trained by Sean Terry. That comes up in the first leg of the Pick 6. So he's nicely related. He was a 900,000 Rand purchase. Just having a look at his pedigree, the dam, she stayed 1,800 meters, nicely drawn at 2. So that's the first timer that interests me a bit. But we got a Brazilian import there from the Mike de Kock yard called Olympic Bolt. But at this stage, the obvious horse for me in the Bipot will be number 10, Pioneer Spirit.
Obviously, experience under the belt. So D's leaning towards number 10, Pioneer Spirit. But watch the betting on those first-timers. That's always going to be the advice that we can build with juvenile races of this nature. The place accumulator begins with race number 3, 12:30. Do not be caught napping. It is an early start to the first leg of the place accumulator. It's the lifestyle maiden plate for fillies and mares. We're going to have a look at the field, and there will be quite a few to face the starter. They're 15 carded, so 12 plus 3 reserves. Number 1, Donna Amata, 28-10. Alistair Gordon, Anthony Dalpesh teaming up. Number 2 is LaForty on offer at 5-1. 3, Swanee River is a 7-1 shot. 4, Terry Bell. Warshall Mowing's back in the country and riding with tons of confidence. That's at 8-1. And then single figures on the first page down to number 10 on the card. And that's Candanaut, and that's on offer at around 28-10. There's also a few more horses over the page. Number 11, Deluxe Arrow, 33-1. 12, Jolly Jenny. Has one run under the belt, 16-1, and then the 3 reserves are out after them. So I'm going to start off with D's Dynant, race number 3, first leg of the place accumulator. What catches your eye?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2 horses in the place accumulator. I think we're going to get a massive pool on the day, and this is the bet to catch. You've got 3 chances, and I think the 2 horses that I'm going to include will be good enough. I'm going to lead with Candanaut from the Duncan House stable. I'm sure punchers will recall on the day that the stable were very bullish on the stable companion Mia Strock. That was she was having her first run for the yard, and rumored unbeatable on the course. And I thought this filly did very well to finish 4th. She gets a nice draw of 2. having raced at the course of 1,200 meters on debut, it was a test for her, and I thought she gave a good account of herself. The distance is going to suit her much better. She's the one that I'm going to lead with, and I'm going to back her up with the obvious horse, Donna Amata. So those will be my 2 PN numbers, but I'm quite strong on number 10 here, Alistair, Condé Nast.
Jeff, an Argonaut going from 1,200 to 1,600. Would that tick a box?
Yeah, it would. In actual fact, I trained her mother too, Candelada. She was a filly that really stayed. She was by Roy. She wasn't that talented, but she won a couple of races, if I remember. Argonaut, I always felt, would be a better miler than anything else, and an awful lot was put on his shoulders, to produce 2-year-olds, which I think was possibly a little unfair on him. So, yeah, I would agree with these. Drawn 2, Kevin Shea. I always look in these maiden plates. I look for the top 3 numbers, or the first 3 numbers usually, because it's process of elimination now at this time of the year. And then something that maybe stands out. So I would go 100% with these. I'd say Candonaut from number 1.
Garth, I see you've circled one other runner apart from 1 and 4. Number 4, 1 and 10, I beg your pardon. Number 4, Terry Bell.
You know what it means, field and fillies and mares, F&M. It means field and more. That's what it stands for. So anyone that goes short in fillies races has got to be very brave, unless they're Group 1s or Group 2s. Yeah, I think, I know it's drawn badly, but it's got a top pilot on board in Washong, and I think it's about time the stable found a little bit of form. They deserve the form and deserve to find the form. And yeah, I would just include it. But I wouldn't like to go at the first deck. Not that I think there's anything wrong with 1 and 10, but fillies and mares, anything can happen.
You've ridden with a lot of these greats, and I know that we're talking the horse elements at the moment. But Garth, I mean, we really are in such a fortunate position when you think of the Jockeys Championship. We'll get to the trainers in just a moment when we get to the feature races. But when you've got 2 young guns like Richard Fourie and Simango Khumalo fighting out the championship, and then there are obviously a few other young guns behind like Muzi Yeni and others that are really starting to shine. I mean, we really are blessed because you put Pierre Straden, you put Washong Mao, and you put yourself in the category of those that have been around the block, won many grade 1s. But the fact that the conveyor belt is still flowing must be so refreshing for South African racing.
Oh, yeah, we've got very, very strong jockeys all over the world. I mean, it's seen with Dougie White flying the flag in Hong Kong. And yeah, we've got top riders. I mean, if one looks at the figures, and obviously those top guys ride all over the country. And then you look at the stats and you look at the percentage winners of the guys just below them, the Pierre Stradens and the Anton Marcuses. And you've got to understand that we really got good riders.
Blessed indeed. Who could forget what Anton Marcus has done twice overseas with Variety Club, 2 rides out of the top draw. So 1 and 10, perhaps number 4 for cover in the first leg of the place accumulator. Now the pick 6, estimated pool of 4 million rand. If you don't want a piece of that, well then you're in the wrong game, to be quite honest, because this is going to be it over the weekend. Like I said, there are carryovers all over the place. There's one to Fairview on Friday. There's another one to Turfentine on Sunday. Flamingo Park on Monday is even having a pick 6 carryover. But an estimated pool of 4 million rand really is massive. And Dees, I mean, as an out-and-out punter, you have to be part of it.
You have to be part of it. These pools are what we look forward to. These carryovers, and then they carry it over to the big days. You're in for massive pools. 4 million rand. Yeah, V estimated at 3.94 million rand. We are racing alongside Kenilworth, and it's a big day for them. I think they got 3 feature races, so that's obviously going to cut into the Gold Circle budget or the KZN pool. But in saying that, 4 million is a massive pool, and on a big day like this, competitive racing, it's all about structuring your bets. Just the midweek meeting, I'm just going to have a look at one result, and not the entire pool was won. It's all about structuring your bets, and if you can get it right on the big day, well, you could be in the pound seats.
Well, let's dissect race number 4 and have a look at the field. And to merit rated 80 handicap, but there are a few here with some ability. And we have number 2, Della Danza at 4-1. Number 3 is Zhivago at 33-10. 4, Assegai, Anton Marcus taking the ride for Alistair Gordon at 3-1. 5 is Glasswing. We made a small mention of that earlier on with some of the family. 9-2, Bling riding for Sean Terry. And then number 9, Double Clutch. We'll get to that story with these in just a moment. 8-1. And then over the page, we have 11 Tiger Cub at 12, Tyler's Talent 25-1, and the reserve is number 13, Nads Pride. Now, I know that Paul Lafferty sat on this very studio and told the story about Double Clutch. Dees, really is a miracle that this horse is even at the racecourse on Saturday.
Yeah, we saw a clip on the Winning Ways show and the problems that they had with him. And compliments to himself and his staff and the vets and everybody that worked on the horse coming to the races. That was a miracle in itself. And for him to win a race Well, it just goes to show that perseverance and patience pays off. Tennis Porsche had a story the other day at Scottsville, and I'm sure Jeff and Garth, I mean, they'll have stories. Every horse has got his story, Alistair, and you know, it starts off with the breeders. You know, they take the knocks during foaling season. We don't hear a bit of it, you know, we just watch them run past the winning post. So, you know, every horse has got his story, and that was a beautiful story that Laf mentioned about his horse Double Clutch.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm sure you've had a few in your time, a few stories with horses you said, oh, this will never make the racetrack, and they come out and have amazing careers.
Yeah, it happens, Alistair. Happens the other way too. They come out brilliantly and then they go wrong and you never see them again. So anyway, I saw this clip on Teletrack with Paul, and it's a nice story. It is. Now, does the story continue?
Well, we'll find out. Let's go to Garth Puller, though, for the first leg of the Pick Six. We'll start off with him. How do you see this race?
I looked at it and I thought it was probably between 2, 3 and 4. Those are the horses that I picked out. Paul's horse, hard to back up a maiden win next time out. I mean, it's a nice story, but he's got a bit to do. Got the advantage of having the one draw. And I'd maybe throw in the 5.
How would you make Joburg form at this stage of the season, Jeff? Because we've obviously just come out of the season. But Glasswing could be a progressive 3-year-old but trippy.
Yeah, I was actually looking at this, Alistair. You know, it's good form. It's what I would call Rocco's luck. You know, 1.5 lengths behind Rocco's luck. That's pretty good form. If you had to put Rocco's luck in this race, you would surely fancy him. So I think it's in the running. But I agree with Garth. I think I had 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9. Actually, the horses that I sort of singled out, if you can call that singling out. But if you're going to a handicap, it's up to did the handicapper get it right? Is it going to go right for the horse in the race? I think you've got to cover yourself in these races.
Dees, is there a potential banana skin here that punters could slip on in the first leg of the Pick Six, apart from the horses that the gentlemen have mentioned?
I'm going with Garth. I think he's got the 3 horses in the race. My order of preference, I'm going to go with Chivago from the dry yard. He's had 2 nice runs, finishing 3rd behind a very lowly weighted filly, and last time out was not disgraced behind Candy Moon. I think Dennis will have him primed. As a guy, well, his form speaks for itself. He's got Anton Marcus up, and just the manner this horse races at Scottsville and Clarewood, I think Gravel's going to suit him nicely. He's perfectly drawn in 2. And then a horse that has just found a new lease on life called Della Danza. You know, his merit rating was low. He was at a 65, but the handicappers giving him a few pound now. He's racing off an 81, so making it a bit tougher for him. But the 6-year-old is in very good form. So those will be my 3 horses in the Pick Six. And I just want to touch on the draw. You know, I mentioned to you the other day on First Call that, you know, a draw at Greyville used to be gold, but it's now priceless with the way this new track's running. You know, horses can make up the ground if you got the athlete to do so. But, you know, if you're drawn in the first 4, first 5, it's a massive advantage.
Garth, let's say you are riding Glasswing now. You've got draw 12. You fancied? How would you go about things in the first leg of the Pick Six?
Obviously, everything is judged on the pace of the race. And I don't believe that, and I believe obviously the draw is a hell of an advantage, but you can come from anywhere as long as the pace is on. And if the pace is on, which I think it will be, the false roll will be probably in, you could probably come from behind. But the draw is important.
So that's the first leg of the Pick Six. All the panellists giving the same horses, perhaps no outstanding bets in the first leg of the Pick Six race number 4, but at least we've narrowed it down to about 4 runners in the first leg. Let's go on to the first of 3 features, and we'll talk about this at length, or the 3 features we'll talk about at length. It's the Grade 3 Lonsdale Stirrup Cup over 2,400 metres. A lot of horses will be aiming for the Gold Cup out of this race. There could also be a few that get into the Vodacom Durban July, but let's have a look at the field for the 2014 running. And number 1 on the card is No Worries. Runner-up in the Daily News 2000. Exactly a year ago, 10-1. Number 2, Show Gunner, perhaps the best 2-time winner in the country at 5 years old at any rate, 12-1. Number 3 is Jeppy's Reef, last year's winner of the Gold Cup, showing it 10-1. 4, Eton Mess, 25-1. 5 is Barakar, that makes the trip at 20-1. Number 6 is Gothic, 10-1. 7, Tresco, 12s. Number 8 is Great Rumpus. That, of course, was the winner of the Easter handicap, and that shows at 6-1 under Musi. 9, Wave and Flag is 10s, and number 10, King Neptune, is at 12-1. Over the page, number 11, Gone Baby Gone, the 3-year-old, who looks really progressive, is at 4-1. 12, True Master, 10-1. 13 Wild One, first run for the Mark de Kock stable, I believe that's at 8-1. And 14 Alexander is also at 8-1. The two reserves are Sage Throne and also Sky Rise. I'm going to start off with a rerun then, and we're going to have a look at the Consolation, the 1900 Consolation won by Futura. And many people, of course, talking about Futura as a possible winner of this year's Vodacom Durban July. This was the last time he was seen, but obviously the significance with this race is that have a look at some horses that were behind.
Gifted for Glory, and then True Master, Candy Moon, Sage Throne. Got to be Homeward Bound now, and Zestel's going to bring him into the stretch. Waving Flag second, Disco Alice third. Gone Baby Gone, Futura now comes around them, got 4 or 5 to make up. Gifted for Glory goes in. At the 300, Zestel still the leader. Waving Flag, Great Rumpus, Disco L. Futura and Gone Baby Gone now asked to quicken up. Gone Baby Gone, Great Rumpus, now Futura starts to motor home. Futura, Disco L, and Futura exploding into action. He's down, most impressive. Gift for Glory second. Third will go to Gone Baby Gone, and Disco L ran fourth.
So the horses out of that race that'll be running in the 2014 Lonsdale, Gone Baby Gone, Great Rumpus, Waving Flag, True Master, and then Sage Throne, obviously a reserve. But just quickly, before we actually have a look at these runners, I want to ask Garth, how impressed were you with Futura that night?
Yeah, I was very impressed, I must say. The pace didn't suit him. He came from off them. He never panicked at all. He knew what he had underneath him. He moved him out, looked like halfway down the straight. I was at races and I thought to myself, halfway down the straight, you're in trouble, boy. And he got into that stride. He's got a wonderful action. And once he got going, Glenn just geared him down towards the line. He won very easily.
Well, there's another race that we're going to have a look at. It was on the same night. It was the Betting World Greyville 1900. Two runners out of that form, No Worries and Showgunner. Two of the Gavin Funzel runners. We'll have a look at that rerun, and then we'll dissect race number 5.
Arenas travel together. Gold Onyx and No Worries. Rio Carnival, Astro News and Our Ticket. Homeward Bound in the Betting World 1900, and Tribal Dance the leader. Showgunner, Espumante goes in, half the deficit. Down the inside, Punta Arenas, Gold Onyx. One Cool Dude starts to pick him up also. It's wide open. The filly, Espumante, Tribal Dance. On the outside, Showgunner, half the deficit, is fighting back. Punta Arenas at the rail, but the filly is going on to score. Espumante won it. Second, maybe Punta Arenas, then half the deficit, and Tribal Dance.
So before we actually have a look at those two runners, I just want to pass the ball to Jeff Woodruff, because Gone Baby Gone is a 3-year-old who ran 5 lengths behind Louis the King in the Grade 1 SA Derby. Now, Jeff, you obviously have an exceptionally special 3-year-old among your ranks. Is 5 lengths to Louis the King at Grade 1 level good enough? Can the 3-year-olds again show what's thought of them?
Alistair, generally yes, but in this race it might be difficult. Just looking at I'm looking at the 3-year-old with 52, but I'm also looking at the older horses at the same weight. Now, at weight for age, they're miles out over 2-4. So I think he's a runner, but I don't think he's stronger than some of the older horses. I always feel that these races over 2-4, you get a 4-year-old, 52 on Alexander. I think that makes him a huge runner. And the 3-year-olds have surely got to battle. If once again, if the handicapper is right, they are going to battle at weight for age with these older horses.
So, Dees, what fits the bill? I mean, I know that you're a No Worries fan overall, but as Jeff says, there are a few 4-year-olds that come in here of bottom weight, same as a 3-year-old. I mean, when you consider 10 months ago, Wild One was running in the Vodacom Durban July on Saturdays, carrying 52 kilos from pole position.
An absolute nightmare. For jackpot players, this is the first leg. What a leg to start it off. And for the pick 6, my suggestion is to play it as wide as possible. You know, you can make a case for almost every horse in the race. They all have, their form that they've lost. They could return to form. Some of them are in good form. Some of them are up-and-coming stayers. Very difficult. And I've gone at 8 horses in the pick 6 that I've taken, which will come up later on. And in order of preference, I've gone 11, 8, 9, 1, 13, 4, 14, and 2. You know, and I'm not confident with those 8 horses out of the 14 horses that go to post. But I'm leaning towards the 3-year-old, Gone Baby Gone. 8 Great Rumpus. I thought, it was a nice run from him in the Consolation last time out behind Futura. He's got a nice galloping weight of 53.5 on his back. A horse like a Waving Flag, a nice strong front runner, 53 on his back, nicely drawn at 2. I think the course will suit him. And running off my top 4 is number 1, No Worries. And I've been disappointed. I thought his run back in the drill hole was a fair effort. I expected him to come on in the 1900. For me, it was a bit disappointing, but just listening into the comments coming through from Summerfeld, this horse is flying back home, and I think you'll see a different horse come to the races over the weekend. I'm hoping so, but the draw certainly doesn't help.
Now, Garth, I see you've also circled quite a few here, a few that you give chances. What could be the spanner in the works in the Lonsdale?
I think a 4-year-old like Wild One that you mentioned, first run, Mark de Kock, pole position, top jockey. He's going to be fit. He's never been far off the Grade 1 races up in the Transvaal, and he left from Durban for that. Massive runner for me. Horse like Gothic, third run for Vaughan Marshall, second in the Derby in Joburg. I think another big runner, distance suited. The 4-year-old No Worries, I think he'll definitely come back to himself. He got into trouble in the 1900. He got behind Punta Arenas and eased back, and they allowed the winner in front, and the pace slowed up, and he was climbing on all over Punta Arenas. So that wasn't really his run. Yeah, I mean, like Jeff says, the 3-year-old you got to respect, but at weight for age he's way out here. He's obviously above average, but he's way out here. Waving the Flag and Alexander is another horse that's done nothing wrong.
I was going to ask you about Alexander, but first of all, do you believe in the second run after the rest syndrome?
Definitely. I tell you what, a lot of trainers come on television and they say, and I'm not knocking anybody, it's obviously the work that you put into it and how you've been able to gallop them. But a lot of trainers will come on and say it makes no difference. As a rider, it always made a difference to me. And you'll find that even those trainers that say it makes no difference, when you look at the July, you'll see that often it'll be the horse's third or fourth run. It won't be their second run, especially if they can help it.
Jeff, what's your opinion on second run after arrest?
If they win, I'd say it's rubbish. But no, I must be honest. I think it all depends entirely on the individual. It depends how they came out of that race, that come off the break, and the timing. If you bring a horse back 2 weeks after it's had a long layoff and you run it, and then you bring it back 2 weeks later, and it had a hard run before, you're going to get a bad run, probably anyway, a bit of a flat run. I do agree with Garth. I think a lot of us, tend to say, "Oh, it won't affect me," but it does. It does. And but once again, timing. But looking at this, I mean, surely he's had sufficient recovery time here. Alexander, I'm talking about. Glenn's a good trainer. And the one thing I have particularly found a stayer, fitness is more important than well-being, and they just grind away. And if they've got the stamina, which he clearly has, I believe, I certainly expect to see him feature. And the only other one, I was looking at Gothic, he's 1 kilo better off with him. Yeah. Well, that could swing it. So I think those two are very big runners. And Wild One, I put the 3-year-old in, but a little bit reluctantly.
Deez, I've got to ask you about Alexander, because this time last year, no one knew who Alexander was. Now all of a sudden he's thrown his name in the hats as a possible Gold Cup contender.
And there's strong talk coming through. But, Jeff just touched on weights. If you have a look at a horse like Eaton Mesov, I've included in the pick 6, he's now 4.5 kgs better off with Alexander on their last meeting. So that definitely brings him to the reckoning. So while Alexander is winning his races and putting his name in the hat, he's obviously going to have to prove himself against better company. And this is a strong field. So we'll really get to see how good he is on Saturday, Alexander. If he has to win this, then surely he will be one of the more fancied horses come the end of July.
2 other horses that we just haven't made mention of, Jeppy's Reef and Waving Flag. Deez, just quickly, your opinion on Jeppy's Reef, perhaps? This run under the belt will bring him along?
I think this is more of a prep run for him, His aim, Mike Bass, his aim will definitely be the Gold Cup. I'm not saying that he wouldn't win it, but I think whatever happens in this run, he's certain to come on with this effort over 2,400 meters. I'll be in the corner of Waving Flag as a possibly the better of the two. 53 on his back, as I mentioned, nicely drawn at 2, stays all day. He's the horse that could be setting the fractions up front, and possibly the horse to overall turning to the home straight.
Garth, what's your opinion on Wave and Flag?
Yeah, I've got him marked here. I really think he's a runner. He's a nice run to Futura. Obviously will come on. I mean, he was stable companion on the day, and Futura was fancy to kill. Yeah, I think he's a runner. And this was Alexander. I mean, I know there's a great story about him too. He's impossible at track, difficult. No one can hold him. They can't work him. And he comes to races and he goes down to the start quietly and he behaves himself and he comes from off the pace and he flies. So there you go. I think it's a tough one, but I think it's very competitive. I think it's going to be between the old horses.
The bottom line is you can make a case for almost anything in the 2014 Lonsdale Stirrup Cup. Play wide, play safe in your jackpots and in your pick sixes, because that is the race where you're likely to get your payout boosted. On to the first of two Group 1s, the Wellavington 2000. They go obviously over 2,000 metres, and the 3-year-old fillies will be in action at Grade 1 level. Let's have a look at the field. We've got number 1, Along Came Polly, a dual Grade 1 winner. The Grade 1 Tigweni Filly Stakes and Grade 1 Empress Club Stakes. She's at 11-2. Number 2 is In the Fast Lane. She's also won at Grade 1 level, and she is at 7-2. 3 are Cetri Pink. She's a Grade 2 winner. She's at 10-1. Lana Falcon always there and thereabouts in the strongest 3-year-old races. That's on offer at 6-1. 5 Athena, winner of the Grade 1 SA Fillies Classic at 12-1. Also winner of the champion 3-year-old filly on the RA Half Welter Awards. The winner of the Grade 1, the Grade 1 winners all over the place. The Grade 1 SA Oaks, Ash Cloud 8-1. And then we have 7 Zafira at 16-1. Number 8 Zacharias at 12-1. She's in an unbelievable run of form. 9 Admiral's Eye at 20-1. When last did you see Anton Marcus on a 20-1 shot? And number 10 Mojave Princess is at 16-1. Then the next page we have Omati Kaya. Number 12 Red Flame, who I was seriously impressed with when she won last time. 13 Touch the Sky, another from the Woodruff Yard, and 14 Square Dance. Will that be the last of the runners carded without the reserves? 3 reserves, Goldie Coast, Superseed and Shingwedzi. First of all, I'm going to throw the ball to Jeff Woodruff. We do have a couple of reruns lined up, but before we do that, you are obviously well represented with 3 runners in this year's Wellavington, a race that you won last year. Are you pleased with, first of all, how the 3 travelled down?
They've travelled well, Alistair. Yeah, I must be honest, I've got 3 tickets in the sweep here. I think it's quite a hard race, and you can make a case for quite a few, but I keep thinking this filly Athena is very, very good. I do, on the strength of what I saw in Joburg, I do think she'll get the trip. Got a bad draw, but she's got a good jockey, and she comes from off the pace anyway. So I actually make her the one to beat. Several of these fillies I've not seen run. You know, they've run down here. They speak about Red Flame, but you know, she won a graduation plate by length and 3/4. This is a Grade 1 now, so I think she's way up in class. Don't say she's not good enough, but we've got to see that. And of my 3, I don't know. I was gutted with Zafira's run in the Oaks, because I really did fancy her that day. Slapped a pair of blinkers on her now just to see if we can get her to travel, because she has this terrible habit of just loafing in the race and sort of getting out of her ground. But anyway, she's also got a shocking draw, so you know, she's just a ticket in the sweep as far as we're concerned here. She is well. She travelled very well. Of my 3, I actually lean towards Touch the Sky. She won the Oaks trial very, very well, over 2,000 metres, and in the Oaks itself, she ran 4th. It wasn't a bad run. She came from miles back. She was actually sitting last, and Akash Osharis rode her that day. She pulled quite hard, even at the back of the field, and to run on like she did, it was a good run from a good draw. And if she'd been better placed, I think she would have got quite close to them actually. So she's not to be ignored. I would say of my 3, she's the best.
Well, let's actually have a look at the SA Oaks. There are quite a few horses in the Wellavington 2000 that come out of that Grade 1 in Joburg. This was won by Ash Cloud, who will be in the lineup. Waya Mawing trains that one. Washong rode it and will ride it again on Saturday.
She's in the clear, and she's got about 6 to make up as well. Then comes Kobe into the final 500 metres, and Ash Cloud has just about taken over the lead. Second place is Implode, who feels the stick. Then Bluebell Glade. Further back to Mojave Princess. Zafira needs to pull out all the stops. She's got about 4 lengths to make up. It's Ash Cloud in front. She skipped clear about 3 lengths. It's going to take a good thing to catch her out here. Second place is Mojave Princess. Then comes Tinseltown, Touch the Sky. Ash Cloud, though, is getting stronger stronger and stronger as the race goes on, and she takes out the Volkerbos-Drift SA Oaks. Second goes to Mojave Princess, then came Kobe. Fourth is a photo between Square Dance.
Dees was just saying while that race was being shown, she just kept on going. I mean, I know Gravel and Turfentine are two completely different tracks. I know 2,000 meters and 245 are completely different distances, but that was a good win, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah, and a plan come together. You know, you heard it in the interview after that. They had a pacemaker in the race, set a good pace up front. Marshall just sat behind the stable companion, and he let this filly go early, and she won a very good race, you know. Well done to Dylan. I see now he's got Hassan Adams and Sat Maton involved in the filly. And
big hitters, those guys, aren't they?
Big hitters. He's got them involved. I was just chatting to him this afternoon, and the boys are all coming down to come and watch their runners on the day. Dylan's got a few, and this filly's Ash Clouch is working well back home. I don't know, you know, from draw 13 how she's going to be suited to this track, but if she gets a soft lead, she's definitely a player in the race. What's interesting for me in the race, Alistair, if you have a look at numbers 1 through to number 5, the best rated horses in the field. They all haven't been over this trip. They've all earned their ratings over shorter. And, you know, do you go with the handicapper, or do you go with the horses that are up and coming and that are proven over this type of distance? You know, that's the decision you're going to have to make in a race like this. I'm in the corner of a horse that's around 6-1, and strangely enough, it's Lana Falcon, Mark Bass's horse, you know. Interesting that this filly has won all the races over sprints, so she can turn on the speed. And I thought she's been a touch unlucky down in the Cape. You know, in the Mallorca, it was a fair run behind Peach Beauty. And in the Prix de Cup, a form line that really held up strongly. She was second to Priceless Jewel, third to Jet Bell in a sprint, fourth to Maybe Yes from a hopeless draw last time out. I think she's looking for this type of ground. She's nicely drawn at 2. I don't think we've seen the best of her yet. That's going to be my outright choice. For second, I've gone with In the Fast Lane. Yeah, Justin is, you know, he's gone on record saying that she's not enjoying herself here in Durban. He's hoping that he's got a spot on now coming into this race. There won't be any excuses. A solid form if you draw a line through a 1-run on JNB Met Day. You know, there's no problem with us seeing out the trip. And then, you know, I was of the opinion that our Century Pig could be the right one of Jeff's runners. Nice that we got him here on the panel. He's suggesting that Touch of the Sky is the right horse. But Jeff, you know, I just want to touch on that last run when you ran the filly in the Guineas. I see you've taken off the tongue tie on.
Yeah, she held her breath that day, Dees. So basically, they won't run. And we've sort of experimented around. We've got a very soft bit in her mouth now. And it's why I lean towards Touch the Sky, because I'm sure of her. With our Cedric Pink, if the taking the tongue tie off doesn't help, well, you know, we're still back in trouble. Yes, she's got a lot of class. She is out of a Galileo mare. So we did think we were buying a filly that might get up to 2,000 metres, but her form maybe doesn't suggest that yet. But we're trying. It's a grade 1 for 3-year-olds, and, you know, she's here competing. But like I say, I lean towards Touch the Sky because I just feel that she really is on the upgrade.
No, we are going to get Garth's opinion in just a moment, but first, before we do that, we're going to have a look at the KRA Fillies Guineas, which was, of course, won by Maybe Yes, who will not be in the lineup, but we'll have a look at the closing stages. A lot of horses to watch out for coming out of this race.
Carolina, Athena's now at the back of the field, got 10 or 11 lengths to make up. KRA Fillies Guineas top of the stretch, and Maybe Yes comes forward. Amatikaya in the fast lanes, getting a split on the inside. Maybe Yes the leader, running on a Seacat on the outside, not sulking, but Maybe Yes hit the front, and it's Maybe Yes not sulking on the outside, then Lana Falcon. Maybe Yes just the leader. Maybe Yes has won it. Second not sulking, then in the fast lane, and Lana Falcon.
Okay, Garth, now we've seen the two races in question, perhaps the whole field just about coming out of those two reruns that we've had a look at. I thought Dees made a very good point that numbers 1 to 5, who are the best rated and perhaps more proven in this race, have all proven themselves over shorter distances. So which way are you going to go for the 2014 Willevington 2000?
I was quite bullish on In the Fast Lane. I really think it's the top filly. I think her form to Peach Beauty is by far the best older filly in South Africa. It's very strong. I think the extra triple suitor. Lena Falcon after that. Jeff's filly.
Which one?
No, the one he fancies,
Touch the Sky.
Yeah, just looking at the reruns. I mean, the man trains 3 horses. He should know more or less which is the right one. And then a horse that is thrown in the deep end. I was very impressed by the weight one. I know it only won a graduation, but it's very well bred and not the unluckiest owners in the world. I think that'll be in the frame.
I've included that in the place accumulator myself.
Red Flame.
Red Flame, very impressive. Dees, I mean, I'm sure you were on, I'm sure you watched it at least, but that was seriously impressive the way Red Flame went about it last time.
I've just put 4 horses in the pick 6. I've given you the 3, and my 4th choice is Red Flame. Yeah, you know, when she came down and she ran her first race at Scottsville, when she was beat a horse called Eventual Angel from the Dennis Dry yard, you know, African Dream has come out to win from that form line. Her last start, effortlessly. I think jockey Anthony Delpes didn't move a muscle, and Starjet, who was behind in that race, came out to win well. And Bernard Fader, I see he's plus a half in race number 1, riding 58. So hopefully he can shed that half kg come race number 6, because I think this filly is going to need all of it. Yeah, you know, she's in the same mold as a few of the other horses at the lower scale of the ratings, but we haven't seen the best of her yet. And, you know, Gart touched on the pedigree, and the dam, she won 4 races comfortably over 1,800 meters. This filly is looking for this type of trip. She's the dark horse for me in the race, and you know, I must thank Jeff for his comments on his filly, Touch the Sky, because I was obviously on the wrong one there, and so if we can adjust that pump, maybe you know, leave in our century pick and include Jeff's other filly, Touch the Sky.
There will be a slide at the end of the show with all the various panelist selections, and I'm sure that will make for very interesting reading. Let's now move on to the big one on the day, the Grade 1 Daily News 2000, where Cape Town and Joburg meet in Durban. What a race this is going to be. The ruling Vodacom Durban July favourite, Legislators in there, Triple Crown winner Louis the King. We'll have a look at the field then for the big race. We've spoken about Legislators. 18-10 favourites on Saturday. Louis the King is 7-2. Same price as number 3, Captain America. And the son of Captain L must also come in with a big chance from the Brett Crawford yard. Glenn Hatt takes the ride. Bezanova, a crack in the KRA Guineas in the first weekend of May, 16-1. 5 is As You Like, 10-1. You see in the backside of Louis the King enough, and that's the price in the Alec-led train runner. Whistle Stop, 14-1. He's bound to come on with the last run under the belt last week. 7 Earl of Derby, 25-1. 8 Top Jet, 20-1. Number 9 Atomic Rush, running for new owners. That's on offer at 40-1. Number 10 is Everest at 40-1. St. John Gray takes the trip down to KZN. 11 Mikado, 66. And number 12 Rakes Chestnut at 7-1. Again, I am going to start off with Jeff Woodruff. Now, 2 horses in the race. One, obviously, extra special. He's won the Sascock Triple Crown. He's sort of put racing back on the map, so to speak. But on the same day as his debut, a horse called Rakes Chestnut made its debut. Now, what do you make of the 2? Because they both were impressive on debut, but the talk was that Rakes Chestnut could be extra special as well.
Alistair, yes, he is. He actually won over a second faster than Louis the King. They ran in consecutive races. So, you know, you've got to take cognizance of that. But Rakes, he didn't lose his way. He needed gelding, and we held off a bit, and probably wrongly so. His first run since gelding was the second that he ran to Lockheed Jetstar, and I would say that he's really improved. He's improving back to the horse that we hope he's going to be, and I think he's going to, in time, he's going to be a very, very good horse. But this is the deep end. Louis, we had no such problems, and he's been very, very easy to train, and I think his record probably speaks for itself. He's well drawn, but I still think that we probably have Legislate to beat, and I'm certainly not dissing my own horse. I think he's a super horse. And
can you see yourself lifting the trophy at 3 o'clock on Saturday?
Yeah, I can, but I can also see us having a very, very tough race. You know, Legislate, I watched him win the Guineas, and I was mightily impressed. It was a good one. It was a very, very good one. He gets a trip. He won the Derby. So you've got him rated the same as Louis the King. He's got a bad draw, but I honestly don't think that's such a terrible thing. It's a small field, and you know, there's going to be enough room for all 12 of these horses. So I should think he and Louis the King would fight it out. And I'm saying that simply not just because of the ratings, but because of what I've seen of both horses. And I don't like good races. I like races where you win easy. But I think we're in for a fight here.
Well, let's have a look at Louis the King's last win, the one where South Africa cheered. All racing fans were on the edge of their seats. He did it. Louis was crowned. Let's relive the magic from the 26th of April.
Super Tube. Where's Louis the King is in the middle. He's in the black sleeves and the red cap, and they're about to come forward with 500 to go. And I favour that he's hit the front already as Louis the King now. Leo Jet is behind those now with As You Like, who's further back in the field. Earl of Derby's on the chase. Gone Baby Gone. Bouclair top behind that. 300 to go. Louis the King. Gone Baby Gone is racing behind that. Fort Bellini is in the red cap. As You Like is trying to peg him back. Louis the King is going for all he's worth with 150 to go. As You Like is trying hard to come and catch Louis the King. Louis the King is still in front. He's staying on gamely. It's Louis the King, and he has won the South African Derby. Louis the King is now going to make his way into equine.
Perhaps unassuming, but massive heart, Jeff. I mean, again, fine in the Guineas, he had things his own way. He romped, but he had to fight for those last 2 wins in the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I think I got more respect for him with watching him win those 2 races, because it didn't really go his way in either race. We didn't get the pace we wanted, we didn't get the ground we wanted in the Classic, and he came up the outside and he got in a scrap. But he's a type of horse that just asserts himself in a fight, and he did the same thing here when As You Like moved up to him. It looked for a minute like As You Like was going to really challenge, but in actual fact, he never really got closer than a length and a bit. So, this little guy, he's just all heart. He's a wonderful horse, Alistair. He really is. And if he can get close to a horse, and if he and Legislate get to fight it out, then he's not going to lie down.
New jockey, top jockey.
Yeah, I think Kevin's similar build to Robbie. I won't say similar age. You'll probably hit me, but we want experience, and I think Robbie and Kevin would, their styles complement each other, and you want a guy with big race or big match temperament that hopefully can ride both races if we do go on to the July, which is the plan at the moment.
Garth, who's going to win the Daily News 2000?
Legislate.
Bit of hesitation there?
Not really. I just think Louis the King's had a hard season. He's come down from the Highveld. This horse has 1 year. He's at sea level. The Cape horses do well. It's north meets south. He's got a bad draw, but what I did like about him, Louis the King quickened up early, and he went on and held him off well. This horse quickens up really smartly. I had a lot of respect for Captain America, and the way he went past Captain America at the top of the straight surprised me. I thought Gravel wouldn't suit him, and after seeing him win the Guineas, I've sort of thought he's probably one of the top horses around. I've got a lot of respect for Louis the King. He's done nothing wrong. It's his time now to show. It's a different track altogether. It's a short run-in. Turfendane's a long run-in. There's a few factors, but he's got a top jockey. He's got a trainer that knows what it's all about. But besides that, there are a couple of other hard knockers that aren't far behind them, and if they fluff their lines in any way, depending on the pace and whether they get in or whether they run wide, there are horses that haven't finished too far behind them. So horses like Captain America, As You Like It, Benzanova, all horses you've got to look at.
So perhaps not as straightforward as it looks, but let's have a look at Legislate's last win in the KRA Guineas, and then we'll bring Dees into the picture and ask who he likes for this year's running of the Daily News 2000.
Coming around them to tackle. Captain America and Legislate. There's a neck between the two of them. Then Bezanova, Chestnut Rocket, and Legislate comes into the lead now. Legislate going for home, gone clear. And Legislate in the KRA Guineas is going on by 3 or 4 lengths. Bezanova's running on, but Legislate very impressive. Won it by 2.5 to 3. The second place will go to Bezanova. Then came Captain America. Top Jet, Diamond King, further back, Speed Rocket.
As Garth rightly says, that was a turn of foot, second to none. Dees, you could only be impressed with that win. Can he do the same thing that Big City Life did in 2009, going the KRA Guineas, Daily News, July?
Alistair, before I even touch on this race, I must pay compliments to the gentleman on my left, Jeff Woodruff. I'm lost for words to describe the story behind this horse and what he's accomplished. I actually get goosebumps thinking about this horse because, it's a gentleman that took a chance. Tian took a chance with this horse, bought it at the sales, and it's changed his life. And now this is the Dream Factory, and this is what it's made of. He's grabbed the attention of the racing public and people outside racing. For example, I play golf with mates, and I battle to get them to the race. In fact, I have to drag them to come to the races. And I just sent them an email this week saying, Louis is in town, Greyville, 31st May. If you want to see the king, be there. And the guys start phoning me, and they want to come to the races. They just want to come and see the horse. This horse is, he's done a lot for racing. And we need to embrace our heroes and our superstars, whether they're equine or human, in order to get our name out there. It's a sport, and it's stories like this that I think will really get us out there in social media. Social media is a fantastic tool that we can use, and this is a horse that, I love the way he won. And I was most impressed with his last win, in fact, his win in the Derby, because, jockeys make decisions. You can touch on it with God. They can make good decisions or bad decisions, and whatever the decision was, when Robbie Fradd pressed the button that early, I thought it was too early. And for him to have made that type of decision, he needed the horse to pull him through, and the horse pulled him through. This horse got a massive heart. He ran for a full 600 to 700 meters flat to the line, and they never were going to beat him. And I was really impressed with that win. I'm not concerned about the track. He's nicely drawn at 2. Kevin can place him wherever he wants. He's a horse that we know has been there, done that. He's just been crowned Highveld champion, and I think rightfully so. Highveld, a champion racehorse, and fantastic for Jeff. And as much as I want to see him in the flesh, as much as I want to meet the owner and his son, I just want to touch on Legislate and Captain America together. In the Derby, when Legislate put his name up and said, I'm the next horse that you're going to look towards when I come to KZN. Captain America was just behind him that day, and when they both took off at the 400-meter mark, they both finished in 22.8 seconds. So he was beaten the same length that he was at the 400-meter mark. So while it looked impressive that Legislate beat him comfortably in the Derby down in Cape Town, I thought it was a great run from Captain America. I'm just going to have excuses for Captain America that it was a flat run for him. First time out, I think he's far better than that. It's no doubt his mission for the season is a daily news. You'll see a different horse come to the races. But the scary thing about Legislate is that as the months pass by, he looks to be a horse that's getting better and stronger. And I shudder to think that there's more improvement to come from him. But I'm going to be in the corner of Jeff and his team, Louis the King. Second, Legislate. Third, I'm going to tip Captain America. And for fourth, well done to Alec Laird. He's got 3 horses in the race, all for the same owner, Chris Gerber. And he'll have a good line through Bezanova. And I like As You Like. I think also another horse that will enjoy the track. It's difficult to put your head on the block and say, I'm going to have a punt on the nose. This horse can't get beat. This is a fantastic race to watch. We'd all like to tip the winner, but whatever the result is, may the best horse win.
Well said, Dees Dynant. Now let's move into race number 8. We'll go through races 8 and 9 quite quickly. Have a look at the field for the Bollywood fillies and mares 80 handicap. 1 Dance for Gold 9-2. 3 Tara Dawn is 7-1. Then we have number 8 Latasha, very impressive debut winner, 28-10. And number 10 Ras, who was also super impressive first time at the races, showing at 3-1. Then we have a second page as well. 11 Karsatsu is at 8-1, and number 12 Egregious is a 16-1 shot with 2 reserves. I'll start off with D's quickly. Pick 6. What just numbers? Pick 6. Race
3
number
numbers
8.
for me in order of preference. 10 Rice. I was impressed with the way she won the first time out at Greyville. My second choice is number 1 Dance for Gold. I know Yorgos likes this horse a lot. She'll be giving a bit of weight, and she's drawn out at 11. But the word is that this filly Latasha, who was in a race of her own on debut, is absolutely flying back home. But a big concern for me, Alistair, and I discussed it at length with Darlin on the phone this afternoon. The form line worries me. There's been 15 runners in total from that form line, no winners. So while she was in a race of her own, nothing has come out to show that, it says held up. But if the talk is anything to go by, then this Aussie import could be the right filly in the race, but I'll be in the Mike de Kock camp.
Garth, anything to add, race 8?
I'd put in number 4, Lemonade River.
Lemonade River for Garth as an addition. And then quickly, Jeff, those 4 runners, 1, 4, 8 and 10?
Well, I've got 8 and 10. I've also got 3 and 7. I just feel that Lady Carter, number 7, she should improve over this ground. I had a mother, and she was pretty useful, and I quite like watching her form now. She's coming back to form a bit by the look of things, well drawn, and Wendy I see is in a bit of form as well. But these handicaps, Alistair, I always look at jockeys and in-form stables, and take the fancied horses, and then if you just don't know where to look, go for the in-form stables and the jocks that are in form.
Let's now move on to race number 9, and this is also a pretty useful race. It's also merit rated 80 standard over 1400 meters. Let's have a look at what's going to be in action. 1 In Tribute is a 5-1 shot. Number 2 Translator is at 7-2. 3 National Road 14-1. 4 is 12-1. 5 Samon 8-1. 6 Old MacDonald is 16 over the page. Number 7 First Flight 14-1. 8 Mountain Master is a 4-1 shot. 9 Indian Connection 16. 10 Shelley's Connection is 14-1. 11 Cognac on House 12-1. And 12 Burwas 7-1. Garth Puller, you coming all the way to Greyville for 1 horse. Burwas bottom weight. What do you reckon?
Oh, he's got that come on look about him. I think he'll run a nice race. It's not that easy for him. I think the race is very competitive. I think Translator probably the one to beat, and probably Mountain Master. It's going to be an open race.
Jeff, how do you see race number 9, just quickly in a nutshell?
Yes, I also think you've got to chuck in Garth's horse, but I just wrote numbers 2, 5, 6 and 8.
And then D's?
Yeah,
How do you see the final leg of the pick 6?
Pick 6, I've gone 4 horses here. I'm going to lead with Translator. Nothing obvious reported last time out, but I remember that race. Larata came wide on the bend. Now my second choice will be number 1 In Tribute. Third, number 8 Mountain Master, and 4th Cognac on Ice from 12-1 into 7-1. Those will be the 4 horses in the pick 6.
Now the last race, the Get Out Stakes. This will be the Daily News tonight. Maiden Plate, they run over 1,200 metres. A run through the horses that'll be lining up, and we'll have 2 slides to bring up for you. Number 1, Mumsy's Jet, is a 2-1 favourite. 2 Trip Kings, 5-1. 3 Wild Lord is at 7-1. Then we have number 5 at 12. 6 is also 12-1. Number 7, 33-1. 8 is 20-1. 9 Gemstone Creek, 33-1. Number 10 Kuda is at 66s. Then to the second page, the Mark de Kock First Timer, How Proud, 5-1. And 12 Mshinawam is 16-1. D's, we don't have too much time. The last race of the Get Out Stakes, you already made mention of Wild Lord. Are you going to stick with him?
That's it. The ticket's in the back pocket. Aquila Jet into Wild Lord. That's going to be my play for the day. First and last, and if things don't go according to plan, we'll be going home with some money.
Okay, so D's likes number 3, Wild Lord. Jeff, is there anything to add?
Look, I've always said, process of elimination, these maiden plates, 1, 2, 3. They're the 3 form horses and form stables. I really do think that unless anything comes sort of a first time, any money comes for the first timers, I don't know. Probably the best horse with the best form didn't get a run. Number 14, Capitan.
Garth, is it as easy as 1, 2, 3?
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. It's 3 from 2. And if the 14 gets in, if there's any scratchings, that'll be my next choice.
No doubt about that, coming out of feature race behind Harry Lam. So that's the 10th race. We're just going to quickly have a look and see one more slide before we thank our guests officially. 2 more slides, I believe we've got. And we'll start off with the jackpot selections. And this is courtesy of...
Yeah, I did that jackpot, Alistair. So it's just a snapshot of the pick 6 numbers. So those are the jackpot numbers. Very wide in leg number 1, which is race number 5. 4 horses, leg 2 and 3, and 3 horses in leg number 4.
And then that's the jackpot courtesy of D's. There'll also be a pick 6, the big one on the day. It's going to cost 4,608 Rand if you do follow D's Diamond, but we know that it's not going to be paying anything in that region. It'll be paying telephone numbers.
Yeah, if you're looking at the pool, which is 4 million, 1% of 4 million is 40,000. So, you're going to have to spend a bit in order to try and chase a pool of that nature. And, we're just having a look at the card, and we had a look at it quite in depth. I think it's a difficult card, and I think you'll do well to catch this pick 6. You're going to have to take your chances. We went short in a few of the legs with 3 horses, but I think it's a difficult pick 6 to catch.
Now don't forget this that the Tote have launched is a special for the last 3 pages of your computer form. Will explain everything. If you want to have a look and see what your favorite teams for the 2014 Soccer World Cup are paying, you can go to tabgold.co.za, click on the left-hand column on today, go down to Oz Display, and you'll see World Cup column, and you can monitor from there. And of course, those bets close with the first game between Brazil and Croatia. So it's time to say goodbye. Dees, parting shot. We're going to go down the row. Parting shot, I suppose. Come to Greyville on Saturday.
Come to Greyville on Saturday. It's one of our premier race meetings of the racing season, and looking forward to the 2 feature races, of course, backed up at the Lonsdale. And to Jeff Woodruff on my left, I wish him all the best, and so do I wish all the other jockeys and trainers honours on the day. And we're looking forward to an awesome race meeting.
Jeff, all systems go, I suppose.
Very much so, Alistair. We're here now, and we'll kick off and see what happens. But you know, yeah, we're there. Gloves are on.
Thanks very much to Jeff, and then also big thanks to Garth Puller, obviously a very busy man, and as Dee says, South African Racing Calendar, Daily News 2000 is a day that you tick off as a biggie.
Oh, very big, and it's like an insight into the July. I mean, what happens on this day will follow through for the whole season.
100%. So thanks very much to Dees, to Jeff, and to Garth. To you, the punter, hopefully we steered you in the right direction. Daily News 2000 on Saturday, estimated pick 6 pool of 4 million. A lot to look forward to. Big horses, big names, big people. Be at Greyville come Saturday.
Stand up for the champions. 90 days of all-star horse racing. Champion season tests the mettle of the country's top 3-year-old talent over Greyville's illustrious 2,000 metres. Heads up for these 2 Grade 1 level weight contests. The R2 million Daily News 2000 and the R1 million Wellavington 2000 for fillies. Champions against champions. All-star horse racing brought to you by Gold Circle. Bet Tad Gold, the intelligent bet. Also at Greyville on Daily News 2000 Day, enjoy the Galloping Gourmet Beer Festival with popular brews and food stalls. All at Greyville, Saturday, 31 May.